fresh off of their first win of the 2019 and of the Jim McGinnis era, Charlotte Independence continue their homestand as they take on North Carolina FC in a little Southern Derby action here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. North Carolina FC off to a nice start of the 2019 USL Championship season. Tyler Terrence along with my main man, ex-German pro Devin Kerr, as both teams going through the motions here in Matthews, North Carolina, as these two sides that have a bit of a history and that's been dominated by North Carolina FC as of late. We'll square off for a big 3-point. Charlotte looking to build off their first win. North Carolina FC have been the recipients of a couple of draws and a loss as of late. And Devin, we'll take a look at the Charlotte side, and in particular, one player that we're going to keep an eye on that's going to get his first appearance in a Charlotte Independence uniform, coming over from a neck of the world that you're familiar with in Germany, Michael Maria.
Jim McGinnis told us that one of the reasons his squad struggled so mightily coming out of the gate was lack of depth. They'll look to Michael Maria to fulfill that role in the middle of the field. He came up through FC Bochum and has recently been with FC Twente in the Eredivisie in Holland. And now, when you bring your talents over here, how does that translate to positive work? Well, let's put him next to another international in the likes of Mark Hill. Those two will be the glue in the middle of the field to allow likes of Enzo Martinez, Herrera, and Jackson up top to go forward. He's skilled on the ball. He's got some decent pace and excellent vision. They say he's got a high soccer IQ.
And while we're talking about boys in the engine room that like to get their hands dirty, Austin Deleuze, I mean, he's just captain North Carolina FC, well over 100 appearances. We had the opportunity to speak with him, just a great guy, and just is so plugged in the North Carolina community and really plugged into this North Carolina attack.
Austin Deleuze had to take a seat last week due to his suspension on the game before, and they missed him against ATL UTD2. We talked about the glue that Maria is. Austin Deleuze is much more permanent than that. He does such a great job of continuously providing the liaison from back to front. You'll see him sit in the 6, jump up to a 10, but no matter what, he will have an influence on this match.
North Carolina FC has had a bit of an influence in this rivalry. They've won the last 5, outscoring Charlotte 20-5. The Independents looking to make it 2 wins in a row. It's all coming your way next.
My card.
Misplace your debit card? Turn it off with your app.
Excuse me, my card.
This one's gotta be yours, right?
Yes.
And turn it on when you find it.
These are the hands of Novant Health. The hands saving lives. Taking control when it matters most. These are the hands advancing care. They're skillful, precise, and compassionate.
It's gonna be okay from here.
They're the hands giving you strength. Those same hands delivering specialized care also take the time to hold yours. And they'll be waving goodbye as you walk out of our doors and back to your life. These are the hands of Novant Health, the hands making healthcare remarkable.
Thanks. It's like a smart thing. What's the weather?
Sunny. Perfect chicken eating weather.
How'd you get in here?
It's time for chicken.
What's the traffic like?
Rerouting you to chicken.
Okay.
Hey, Calzo, order pizza.
Ordering chicken.
No, pizza.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chick-fil-A nuggets make dinner delightful.
Now that's smart.
Almost set for kickoff in this Southern Derby matchup between the Charlotte Independents and North Carolina Football Club. Just cross-state rivals as Enzo Martinez leading out this Charlotte Independent side. Meanwhile, it's Austin Deleuze on the other for North Carolina FC, and Dave Sarakin's bunch squaring up against Jim McGinnis for the first time in those two coaches' history with either side. And we'll take a look at the starting 11s for both sides, and Devin, will start with the Charlotte Independents. And for the Jacks, coming off of their first win of the 2019 season, an impressive result against the Bethlehem Steel squad that was littered with both Philadelphia Union talent as well as Bethlehem talent. They're making 2 changes, and obviously the big one in the player that we highlighted in Michael Maria. But other than that, what can we expect from Jim McGinnis' side?
Most importantly, nice to see Enzo Martinez back in the lineup. Got a midweek change where he got some time to take off, and that's what happens when you get into this. But now Jim McGinnis has the ability to rotate players. That's the most important thing. Saying struggling out of the gate, they weren't very deep, but Martinez will step in. He'll be on the left. Nicky Jackson, like what he brought to the game, really stretched to the final third to allow space in behind for Jorge Herrera. Nice to see him once again back in the 11. You and I talked multiple times that they need to find a way to get all of their attacking options on the pitch at one point in time. They're doing it 2 games in a row. Same back four, same goalkeeper in Curtis Anderson. Didn't have a lot to do last game, so how will the youngster respond to the like of Samario Lomas and Iwolo up top when they're going to challenge him on a regular basis?
Curtis Anderson did have to make one important save against James Chambers. On the other side for North Carolina FC, we mentioned that Austin Deleuze was unavailable for their last game due to the red card that he received in the previous one. He's going to be back in the middle of the park, and I like the combination between Tommy McCabe, a youngster just 21 years old, Notre Dame product, and Austin Deleuze, a wily veteran in the middle of the park.
I like McCabe in general. Just keep him in there by himself. He's been great. And the interesting one will be Iwolo and Spees. What is Spees going to do? Because Iwolo is employed up top, also on the left. Dave Sarachan has given Ben Spees the opportunity to roam around a bit more. And he said, listen, you know, I've only played 16 players on this roster because, to be honest, I've got a bit more depth than I thought I had. So not a lot of rotation in his squad normally. 2 changes tonight. But regardless, the visitors are coming to play.
Not a lot of rotation in general. I mean, this is a team that's only used 16 players underneath Dave Sarachan in the 2019 season thus far, as we're officially underway from the Sportsplex at Matthews. 3 points up for the grabs in the USL Championship Eastern Conference, and perhaps even more importantly, maybe to some of the fans, in the Southern Derby rivalry, which of course consists of Charlotte, North Carolina FC, and the Charleston Battery. As both of these sides have taken on the Battery, a 1-1 draw for NCFC is a long-range effort from Michael Maria, and already making his presence felt, and it took a deflection. Oh, did it? Wow. Referee says no. Jorge Herrera as well as Michael Maria, or excuse me, Nicky Jackson, were claiming that it did take a deflection, but it'll be a goal kick for Alex Tambakis and this NCFC side. Tambakis, 26-year-old from Athens, Greece, in his 2nd season with NCFC. Started and played in every game, 1 clean sheet. Curtis Anderson just plays it safe, Manchester City Academy product.
Seen a couple quick goals this week. Dane Kelly netted from quite a distance, 70 seconds for Swope Park Rangers. Try to do the same tonight, and Charlotte Independence, true to form of late, trying to follow suit as well.
Mark Hill sending it over the top, hoping that Jackson will be able to run onto it, but handled by the NCFC back line. Carolina 2-1-2 on the season. Last match, a 2-1 loss at Atlanta United 2. A 6-point week for Stephen Glass's bunch. Kept in play by DJ Taylor. Manny Perez running with him. Here's Deleuze. Early delivery. Hugh Roberts is there. Enzo Martinez having to deal with Perez. Perez showing good strength, but a bit too overzealous trying to win the ball back. And a free kick for the Jacks.
Manny Perez is a nice talent. That's local North Carolina boy as well. Recently employed by NC State and on loan from Celtic. Another one of those players that has made his way into the USL Championship with loads of talent and an opportunity to showcase it on a regular basis, as opposed to overseas where minutes might be a bit more limited. He's converted midfielder. He was used at the outside back position, both for NC State as well as under Tab Ramos in the U20s. And how is that transition into the midfield going to take out? Well, so far, not too bad.
Slip from Hugh Roberts. Here comes NCFC on the other end. Iwolo putting the moves on, looking for an option, lays it off, and the shot is scuffed wide. And a goal kick coming for Curtis Anderson. You mentioned Manny Perez being on loan from Celtic. How about Andrew Gutman as well as Mark Hill? A lot of Celtic boys on the field today. And it was actually Gutman and Mark Hill who linked up for the opening goal for the Charlotte Independents. Mark Hill, free kick that ringed off the near post, and Gutman was just able to tap it in. And then Jorge Herrera would add a late goal for Charlotte, but the lead would be cut in half by the Bethlehem Steel and Giovanni Willis. and made it just maybe a bit more of a bumpy ride than Jim McGinnis would have hoped heading down the stretch. But that first win and those first 3 points, sometimes always the toughest to come by in your first position as the head coach of a football team for Jim McGinnis, of course, coming over from the likes of Celtic, China, and his long history as the head coach of a Gaelic football side. Joel Johnson will go all the way back for Curtis Anderson. A little bit of a delayed press here from Dave Sarakin's bunch. Just trying to squeeze Charlotte into a long ball. They're able to do so.
It was a good shot by his manager first. He initially liked the press up top to push Charlotte Independence to the far side of the pitch, but the youngster didn't make his way back over, and that's one of the transitions you have to keep an eye on. Again, playing the outside back position as opposed to a higher line. The press is a bit different. Your positioning much different, and at times you'll see him wander sometimes.
Charlotte give the ball away, but good defensive presence from Steve Tico. And a throw in for NCFC.
Going even further, his hands are going to be a bit full as well with Andrew Grootman coming out of the back a lot. Not very often do you make the argument that an outside back for a team is one of the most dangerous players, and with all due respect to Enzo and everybody else, he's just gotten better while everybody else is still trying to get things going. You've seen the progression from the youngster out of Indiana, who is on loan from Celtic, in every single match. You see him make better decisions, better positioning, and he has the most amazing stop and start transition pace I've ever seen.
Nicky Jackson almost gave it away. Enzo Martinez now with a little bit of work to do. Andrew Grootman off to a terrific start. 2 goals and an assist. Michael Maria is on the left peg. Pushes it along for another lefty, and Andrew Grootman puts the brakes on. Jackson in the area. Nicky Jackson trying to put it on frame, but it took a deflection. And easy enough for Tambakis, but good early signs from Jim McGinnis' bunch.
How about the build-up, too? You take a look, and that's not a look you would have seen in the past where Enzo Martinez is right at the touch of his own 18, receives the ball, they start to go the other direction, and then guess who? Andrew Grootman, overlapping run. You will see it time and time again. He likes to play a high line, really challenge the opposing team's back line. He and Nicky Jackson created a decent relationship last week, and they'll look to continue that on tonight against North Carolina.
Right here at the Sportsplex at all Independence home games at No Dog Brewing Company and at Jack's house. Elizabeth Neighbor
Slip through. Lomas back out wide. Iwolo. Manny Perez was asking for it at the back post. Andrew Grootman is there. And the effort from Austin Deleuze into the concourse. Manny Perez showing just a very high work rate in the opening moments of this game.
It's presented by O-Touch Charlotte. Members get to hang out with Independence players.
It's the second start of the season for Perez.
The entire season. To sign up, check out charlotteindependence.com /juniorjets.
Not a bad idea, but they give the ball away. And it could open things up for North Carolina FC moving the opposite direction. But Lomas slips on the slick terrain here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. As you can see all around the venue, puddles from rain that littered the area earlier in the day. And it was coming down more or less right before kickoff as well. Jim McGinnis must feel right at home.
I was waiting for something with the Celtic references and the weather. Something was coming up.
Patient from NCFC. They got off to a great start, Dave Sarakin's bunch, drilling the back-to-back champions in Louisville City FC 4-1 in the opening weekend of the USL Championship, and followed it up with a 1-0 performance against the Bethlehem Steel, although a game that Bethlehem really did play well and probably deserved a bit more out of that game. As Hugh Roberts able to win the challenge, Mark Hill a sliding one at that, and now here's Manny Perez trying to dink it along. Dangerous play from Charlotte along their own back line. Enzo Martinez trying to help it. But since that win against Bethlehem, it's been 2 draws and a loss for Dave Sarakin's group. Draw against Memphis, draw against Charleston, lost to Atlanta United 2. Although, Devin, you and I talked about it off air, they have not been outplayed in any game that they've seen this year.
No, the ATL UTD2 game was not necessarily outplayed, but there were more chances for Atlanta United 2 than other opponents have had so far. The Battery game was, they were behind, but it was still an opportunity for them to get points here and there. It took a late equalizer for them to get it knotted up at 1 and get out of their home squad with 1 point. I asked him what was the most impressive performance you've put together, and he said, here's the thing. We haven't put together a full 90. We're good in spurts. And sometimes those spurts are 20 minutes at the end of the game. Sometimes they extend over into 15 minutes to start. But we need to find a way to gel that all together, and we haven't been able to do so. Teams have taken advantage of us. He actually felt like they were a bit hard done in the ATL UTD2 game, because even though they won 2-1 and they did have better opportunities, he felt like they were the ones making mistakes, not necessarily Stephen Glass's boys doing the best of them.
Enzo Martinez and Andrew Gutman coming around the bend on the left side. Gutman, Enzo Martinez now. Referee takes a tumble, and that gets a rise out of the crowd. Ismir Pekmic experiencing the same difficulties that the players are. Alex Martinez linking up with Joel Johnson. Herrera, Father Time lets it loose with the left foot. And it's easily collected by Tambakis. And Jorge Herrera, slowly but surely, earning his spot in this Jim McGinnis coach team.
They need him too. Such a storied tradition with Jorge Herrera in this community and for this club. Good idea on that left foot of his. It is something, though, that from a playing standpoint, with the pitch and the way the conditions are, maybe put something on the ground if you can, try and challenge Tambakis. It's going to be very difficult for the goalkeepers today. Spin on the ball, the wet pitch. Easy change of direction, make it that much harder to make a save.
Tommy McCabe pushes it out wide. It's Manny Perez. Celtic loan. Matched up with another Celtic loan and Andrew Gutman. Enzo Martinez trying to turn out of trouble. Manny Perez has had him in his back pocket, more or less. And Enzo puts in the challenge, and it's a late one. It's from behind. And now a makeshift a corner of sorts for North Carolina FC.
Enzo Martinez had no problem getting stuck in and stepped in behind him. No reason to pressure there whatsoever. Andrew Gutman was coming over and help. Perez played the ball down in and got it back. And he was one-on-one, but with support coming over, that's where you just stand your ground. He would actually even tuck back in to allow Gutman to step in on the challenge on his own, be face-to-face. Not the case. Gives North Carolina a dangerous opportunity.
Brothers Martinez letting their voices be heard to the referee. When have we seen that before? Ben Spees on the set piece. Good ball in. Won by Hugh Roberts. Good strength from Nicky Jackson. However, a lot of hands involved. Jim McGinnis is livid in the Charlotte technical area, but Ismir Pekmic saw a bit too much out of that from Jackson.
And Jackson got away with the first one, and then DJ Taylor repaid the favor. Unfortunately, the referee missed that one. Jackson came back around, got caught third time.
Jackson, born in Mississippi, raised in Arizona, attended Grand Canyon University. The nickname of Grand Canyon University, Devin?
Antelopes.
You're a legend.
Yes.
Handball coming out the other way. I'm impressed.
Truly
I'm
enjoying
really
this
impressed.
new game. Didn't know you were going with that one.
Jack's Militia didn't know.
Yeah. They know a lot.
The Blackberry Pitch. It's handcrafted by your local cidery, Good Road Cider Works. Blackberry Pitch.
good look at Curtis Anderson, who, as Tyler mentioned, coming over from the Man City Youth Academy. Also the goalkeeper that was on the England U17 squad that took down the World Championship.
They look like world beaters in that tournament.
He's interesting at 18 years of age, making his way over to the States. Just wasn't getting playing time. He was stuck behind a lot of very talented players in that academy program, and unfortunately they were a bit older than him. They had progressed in their careers and just wasn't going to get a lot of playing time.
Alex Martinez tried to get it over for his brother Enzo, but he got clipped late. North Carolina not happy about the call. And it will be a free kick for Charlotte.
Alex hasn't had the best start to the 2019 season, but he's caught on in the past 2 games. You're spot on. He was trying to transition the ball back over to the near touchline to his brother Enzo. He's up and at him. Nice to see him moving again. Very quiet opening 15 minutes for both squads, just kind of feeling each other out. NCFC will sit back. They'll lull you to sleep. They can counter with the best of them, and Charlotte finding ways.
Here's Nicky Jackson, and it's just wide.
Charlotte finding ways to have their own say in matches. Again, the first few they had were odd, and that's being polite, because Dave Sarakin talked about how he would see patches for 25, 30 minutes in and out of matches. You probably saw that combined in the first few matches. Fortunately enough for Charlotte, they were able to get some ties out of it, gain some momentum, struggled in a comeback win versus Indy 11. And then that ridiculous 20 minutes versus ACL UTD2 to notch it up at 3-3. Both managers still trying to find a way to take their philosophies and really institute them on a regular basis. Neither have been able to do so.
DJ Taylor sends one, and it's awkward for Charlotte, but Curtis Anderson sharp off of his line. A little more than 15 minutes gone by here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. A little bit north of 2.5 hours drive for North Carolina FC from Wake Med Soccer Park to the Sportsplex at Matthews. It's amazing how much of a stranglehold NCFC has had on this series as of late.
You and I were talking about it. I mean, the win-loss ratio is obviously eye-shattering, 5-1. And then when you bring up the goal differential, 20-5, that jumps off the page for me. And you said, how is that even possible? We'll go take a look at previous U.S. Open Cup results and the spanking that went on previous games and what's going on now. Well, it's a nice little challenge in the near touchline. Nicky Jackson making some friends the opening 20 minutes of this game.
He's not making any friends. Here's Iwolo. Spees running with him. And Ben Spees trying to deliver. It deflects off of Roberts, then off of Spees. And a throw in for the Jacks. And that was a Charlotte team in 2017 in the U.S. Open Cup. That was
nice.
They were good.
Nice.
I mean, they should have had at least a 2 seed in that before they lost the last 5 games of the season in 2017.
2017 was the season of what ifs because they were on that ridiculous run of form.
They didn't lose during the summer.
All went south, everything, and they couldn't score a goal for some 500+ minutes, something like that. And that finally came to end when they took on the Rochester Rhinos, but unfortunately their season ended shortly after.
That was a great game up at Capelli Sports Stadium. Great game.
I think I remember seeing it.
Sadly, that was the last match that the Rochester Rhinos have played in the USL Championship. Obviously, the United Soccer League back then.
They'll be back next year, won't they? 2020, League One, correct?
Yep.
No more Bob Lilly.
Bob's here.
He's always
he's
there
with
in
the
spirit.
River. He's with the River Rhinos.
That's right.
Speaking of Rochester, it's the same beautiful corner of the world, and I use the word beautiful lightly, as Dave Sarakin. Manny Perez, first time delivery. Hugh Roberts is there. Enzo Martinez back for defensive responsibilities, playing with it in his own penalty area. And Curtis Anderson has to bail him out. A little bit of a nudge there from Jorge Herrera. Nicky Jackson's going to turn upfield, and it's going to go out NCFC with pace. Jackson. And a good sliding challenge from behind from Austin Deleuze. I mean, should he just hit it?
Got to make a decision. Yeah, you put it outside, at which point in time, Jorge Herrera slows the rate of play down and allows guys on the far touchline to come in to the picture. Not the case. So if you're not going to give it to him, have a go. Again, we talked about not challenging Tambakis, put something on the ground. Worst case scenario, he saves it. I mean, from there, you get nothing out of a decent opportunity, a half look, but still, you're in a 2v2 situation. Why not let one rip?
And it's not like Jackson's been bashful in the opening 16 minutes or 19 minutes of this game, excuse me. I mean, he took a shot in the first 15 seconds, had another one rippled off the side netting.
He's getting ripped by Jorge Herrera right now for the defensive side of things. Nicky Jackson not tracking back to help out the press. Regain the shape for the Charlotte Independents as NCFC look to break him down.
And if Jorge's yelling at you, you know you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Deleuze, just probing, looking for an option. That's not a bad idea over the top, but it'll skip out of play. North Carolina FC fans that have made the 2.5-hour drive. Going to put an end to this 3-game winless streak. Jorge Herrera wants to go quickly. Go out on a limb here, Dev.
Preach.
I would say Alex Martinez has had a better start to 2019 than his brother Enzo.
I would agree with you. Enzo's problem is something that you and I have talked about off air, and we'll let the listeners know, is what's his identity within this squad? Doesn't necessarily have one. Part of that was Jim McGinnis having to move him around multiple positions, not having that depth that is now coming into talking points with the additions like Mark Hill, Michael Maria, Nicky Jackson. I mean, you know that you've got an opportunity to rotate players when Damo Duro's on the bench. And so Enzo's been out on the right, he's played the 10. And recently he's been on that left touchline, and I didn't like it at first because he feels lost from the game. But when you get Jorge Herrera on, they interchange quite well together. I don't mind that relationship. So Enzo's still trying to find some form, and if it's gonna be on the wing, he's just going to have to find a way to influence it from out there.
Very patient buildup from North Carolina FC right now. They have worked all the way back to within 10 yards or so of the Charlotte goal. Delivery, back post. Lomas elevates, and it was actually Perez who won it, but cleared away by Tico. DJ Taylor will challenge. Michael Maria now gets a bump from behind, still chasing after it, and commits the foul. Aaron Guillen catching the brunt of that.
That's some of the stepping you'll see by Jim McGinnis' squad. Michael Maria coming out of the back. Great move by Aaron Guillen. Cut it in behind him. If he wins it, great job. You go the other direction. You've got a numbers advantage. Unfortunately, referee caught him out of his wits, blows the whistle.
Spees trying to find Perez. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch between the two Celtic loanies and Perez and Gutman. A lot of pace, a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity.
You're not a member yet, there's still time to get your pro-rated season Spees today. Members enjoy discounts on parking, merchandise, international friendlies, and get to join in on exclusive team events. Call the Charlotte Independence front office or check out charlotteindependence.com for more information.
Lomas couldn't quite corral it, and Gutman will recycle for Charlotte.
It's also the defensive work rate we haven't talked about with Enzo Martinez. That was a good look where ball's being chased to the near touchline by Jorge Herrera. Enzo does not step in and actually allowed a ball to be played in by NCFC. The flick over didn't escape Andrew Gutman, but still allowed Dave Sarakin's boys to keep it a bit further.
Nicky Jackson turns it over, and it could be costly. North Carolina FC with a lot of numbers going the other way. Here's Perez, nice little cutback, another great cutback. Trying to get it along to Iwolo, but Joel Johnson scampers back in a hurry. And if you're North Carolina in that sort of situation, I mean, it looked like a 6v3, 5v3. And to not even get a finished product, whether it be in the back of the net or over the byline. Maria trying to bring it down. Deleuze is right there. Your facial expression on that was priceless.
I'm just watching, and it's, oh boy, watch out. Sarakin's going to be frustrated. It was a great build-up, too, and when Perez is cutting inside, that's where you really want to see him put it on his left foot, because he tries to knock it across his body, but progress it forward. And as his momentum comes across, he puts spin on it, which actually spins it away from the overlapping run on the backside. If he lets it drift across, you put it on your left foot, you could then put it towards goal, put it out in front of the attacker, then he can go to goal himself or knock it back across the 6 to a trailing run by the likes of Lomas or possibly Ben Spees. Patience is the key here tonight. 26 minutes in, and it doesn't really feel like anybody's willing to take the reins on this one. Very different look than we've seen out of Jim McGinnis's boys in the past, and good little look there. Nicky Jackson going to ground. Wonder if he's possibly picked up a knock or either tying his shoe.
Header won by Roberts. It was awkward as it was in between Roberts and Anderson. Tell you what, if Jackson's not able to go, this could be a very early call for the 18-year-old Zion Jones, who they just signed. Have to imagine he would be the first one off the bench.
Could do that. It depends if he wants to go that direction or if he's going to go with
Jake Arman.
There you go. Okay, take it, words right out of my mouth.
Independent substitution.
Most likely they'll just move everybody around a bit here. Now this is a situation with Jim McGinnis where you'd like to see Enzo be given the opportunity in the middle of the field. He obviously feels most comfortable there. I like Jake Arman on the outside even more so. It allows him to explore the relationship with Andrew Gutman on the left. They both have a lot of pace. And there's McGinnis just nicking Jackson. What happened there?
And that makes me wonder whether or not it was a bit of a knock that he had gotten midweek and it was more of an experiment. Iwolo trying to hit it on the first time. But Jake Arman, the New Jersey native, spent his first 2 years of collegiate football playing with Maryland and then moved over to Monmouth back in his home state of Jersey. He's clever, got a good first touch. But as Devin, you've mentioned a number of times, just needs to be given, although while he is a jack of all trades, or a Jake of all trades, excuse me.
Well done.
He needs a job, as we've discussed.
And he's not a 10. He's not a playmaker in the middle of the field, with all due respect for him. Very talented, excellent with both feet. He's got great vision, and I love his distribution. He can knock a 20 and 30-yard ball, probably best on this squad. However, it's not Enzo Martinez. It's not what he's capable of. So if you bring Jake to the near touchline on the left, allow Jorge to push up top and slide Enzo in underneath, that makes much more sense.
And now Donovan Iwolo goes down.
Iwolo, who just a second ago was at the top of the 18, ball got served in. He tweaked his ankle a little bit, doesn't want to be touched. I was actually quite surprised he had the opportunity. Nobody tracked him back on the corner. As he turned, kind of locked up a little bit. Sometimes you get that, don't catch a ball true. Kind of reverberates through the entire body. This one seems to be isolated on that left foot of his, which was the foot that indeed did try and strike the ball. Not the best form that we've seen out of him, though.
So nobody's really taken a stranglehold of the game. Now we have this injury from Nicky Jackson. Jake Arman coming on, and now another look at what happened with Mr. Iwolo here.
Yeah, again, it's nothing major. There's no challenge on him. When the ball came in, he just didn't really catch it.
And Iwolo just getting set to come back on.
Stepping back on for NCFC,
Gingerly at that.
7 Iwolo.
Gutman playing out of trouble, finding Maria.
Bad decision there. No reason for Maria to knock that ball all the way across, especially because Aaron Guillen had already taken shape next to Alex Martinez. It was kind of a gray area between he and Joel Johnson. Why not keep that, go back to your center back and just start over, keep NCFC guessing. Looks like Jim McGinnis has done a bit more video review as Enzo has tucked inside and Jake Ardman come back out on the left. Just a much better look for them. The fluidity of play, their ability to transition from the back line to the middle, outside, back in again, and of course the boys up top. It's much better with Enzo in there as opposed to Arman.
Lomas. Ben Spees. From Andy Perez now, first time delivery, good ball in. Tommy McCabe trying to replicate, I wouldn't even call it a carbon copy of his strike against Charleston, not even close, but.
That was brilliant.
Oh,
brilliant.
You didn't really give that its due. You said, oh, they equalized against Charleston. I was like, I was waiting for you to blow that goal up to
no, I set up one talking point and then we'll go back to it. That's why. Yeah. I like him. I've told you before, I like Tommy McCabe.
We asked Austin DeLuz what was going through your mind when Tommy scored that goal. He's like, I was pissed. I was wide open. Here is DeLuz. Good step from Steve Tico. Joel Johnson has to go back for Curtis Anderson, and he thumps it away. Arman, not a ton of options to work with. Working on DJ Taylor all by his lonesome. And Taylor goes to ground. It's a good challenge.
Great job by DJ Taylor tracking back and just standing Jake Arman up, not allowing him the opportunity to get to the byline and knock one into the box. A good opportunity here for Charlotte to push that high line up a bit further. NCFC has really been playing most of this game in Charlotte's half.
Gutman. Wasn't a bad idea. Perez curls one in. Iwolo now. want you to do me a favor. Keep track of how many times Austin Deleuze takes more than 2 touches.
Okay.
Long-range effort from Iwolo goes wide. Seriously. It's never more than 2.
He's efficient, and he understands that you have to keep it moving. We've seen so many teams struggle because you take 2, 3 touches. How many conversations have you and I had where things are so simple and they're right in front of you and they make it more difficult than they need to? 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. It slows the game down. It allows your opponent to regroup and understand what you're trying to do on the field. And if you just continuously keep it moving, make them do the chasing. Not only is it physically demanding, mentally it keeps you challenged and it frustrates them. There's nothing more defeating than chasing the ball for the better part of 90 minutes. And look, I've been on both sides of it, where I've been on a team where I've kept possession and you go back and forth and back and forth. Sometimes it can be annoying, but the other team gets frustrated. It is demoralizing knowing that you no longer have possession and that they're the benefactor. They're almost dictating to you your own specific moves, even though you're the one reacting to them.
Perez trying to turn. And a foul on Charlotte. Clip ball in, Deleuze takes a deflection. Curtis Anderson had already planted himself going one way. And that easily could have found the back of the net. Good movement off the ball from Austin Deleuze. And good build up from North Carolina FC.
You see him involved in the run of play going forward so many times, especially from a withheld position, trying to help them get forward. You forget what he can do inside of the 18. Good look, and he would have had Anderson beat had it been on frame.
Chick-fil-A corner kick coming up for NCFC. Got some pace on it. Joel Johnson first to it. Anderson off of his line. Going to come out the other way.
You're going to have to explain to me how this is a foul on Lomas. He is well outside of the 6, going straight up as Anderson throws his body into the big number 9. If anything, you let it play on.
It's not if anything. That's what should have happened.
You definitely don't blow a foul against Marios Lomas. You could hear Saracen on the near touchline. He goes, explain to me how that's a foul on us. He's not wrong. Just a bad decision by Ismir Pekmic.
Gutman goes to ground. Perez, the beneficiary of a fortuitous bounce.
I would say on the offensive side of things that Manny Perez has probably gotten the better of Andrew Gutman. Probably the one area that Gutman struggles with is the 1v1 defending.
It is getting better every game, though. There's no doubt about that. Alex Martinez, a little shimmy and a shake, pushes it out wide for Joel Johnson, and off and running of the Jacks. Herrera. Jorge. He's trying to find Enzo Martinez. Seven minutes plus stoppage time until we reach halftime. No real glaring chances for either side. Nicky Jackson had an effort from about 25 yards out that just skipped wide and actually hit the side netting. And then Jackson would be subbed off due to injury, replaced by Jake Arman. On the other side for North Carolina FC, not much to write home. 2.5 hours away at all. according to almost everyone at the Sportsplex at Matthews, was taken down, except for the man who counts, and Ismir Pekmic. Explain those last two to me. You're the one who gets paid to have an opinion.
Yeah, sometimes I have to keep it a bit withdrawn as to how I feel about our referees.
Withdrawn? Is that in your vocab?
It is. I don't want to get myself in too much trouble. Still trying to collect that paycheck, remember.
Manny Perez. Andrew Gutman's out of position, trying to track back. It's Mark Hill defending, another loanee from Celtic, and Manny Perez slips as well. There's a goal in this game, and it's probably going to come from somebody losing their footing.
Manny Perez wasn't exactly sending the best signals with his step-overs here, but put some decent distribution into the box so far. Got that nice one to the back post. Wolo couldn't get on. Quite a few players going to the ground. You wonder if at halftime any of them are going to take a look at their equipment, possibly go to a longer stud to help them get better traction.
Alex Martinez finding his brother Enzo. And good defensive prowess from North Carolina FC. Trying to go quickly on the other end, and Hugh Roberts wisely lets it go. And Lomas was hoping that his comrades were going to join him in trying to press Charlotte, who only had 2 numbers back. Gutman, excellent first touch. Armin just trying to clip it over his shoulder. Did it stay in play? The answer is no. Jack's Militia providing the acoustics here at the Sportsplex at Matthew as always. There's Dave Sarakin, Rochester, New York native. Interim U.S. men's national team manager. Of course, is basically, with the exception of this position, has followed Bruce Arena around to every single position that he held. DC United, Virginia, LA Galaxy for a number of years, U.S. men's national team.
He's done well for himself so far, taking his own squad. I mean, they're definitely way different structurally than what we saw in 2018. It was very touch and go, very, very touch and go. And didn't necessarily have all of the weapons that they have now. Not that they have a boatload. I just think the unit itself, when you keep an eye on them, they seem to all be on the same page. They were lacking that last year. You would see glimpses from Lomas where he pulled these ridiculous shots out of a bag and would get them back into a match, but at no point in time were they regularly threatening in a game. You never looked at them and said, North Carolina can go win that. Now, you second guess, you take a look at, okay, what's the game before, what's the game after? What does their lineup look like? And the fact that they've only used 16 players gives you an idea that he said, yes, I'm surprised at how much depth we have. He also trusts his players in the system that they're in, and they've shown it so far.
But if you look at their first 5 games, though, it's a microcosm of basically what they did last year. Good results against some pretty good teams, some iffy results, some games that maybe you should have gotten a little bit more out of, but at the end of the day, it's not good enough. Again, it's 5 games, but it does look like a different team.
Notice, no hot takes on my end saying that they were going to make a run at a top 4 or even a playoff appearance. Just saying they
No,
look
because
better.
there's one team that you said was going to do that, and it does not look like it's going to happen.
For your ears only, my friend. They got to win. They've got a win. We're 6 or 7 games into the season.
I'm putting you on blast as soon as it doesn't happen at the end of the season. I hope you know that.
Probably another 20 games, and I'll be able to let you know. You'll have a much better idea then. And notice, that means 7 matches haven't even been played yet. 2 months to go in this season, and they could be out.
Roberts slips. Could be on here for North Carolina FC. It's off the post. Ben Spees taking advantage of the slippage here at Sportsplex in Matthews and denied by the width of the woodwork.
First time they've really gone after Curtis Anderson. Nice build up, but the slip by Roberts is what gives them the opportunity. Ben Spees, great first touch. Second touch strike goes to the near post, unfortunately off the woodwork. Charlotte escape.
Ben Spees has been a good pickup for North Carolina FC. He's just a winner. Started his collegiate career out at Akron, won a national championship, and then he says, hold on a second, hold my root beer, I'm gonna head over to UNC and win a national championship and score the game-winning goal against UNC Charlotte in the College Cup final. That was a banger of a goal back in 2011 as well. Great addition for Dave Sarakin, on loan from Indy 11. Austin Deleuze finding the feet of Awolo. Lomas trying to bring it down, cut out by Armin. Stoppage time presented to you by Jack's House as we have just 2 minutes and we have our first mustard of the evening, brandished by Ismir Pekmic. And that's Alex Comcia.
It's funny how Alex Comcia oversteps his boundaries for the first time in the opening 45 minutes. Our head referee immediately goes to the book. Charlotte had an opportunity to go the other direction in transition. Mark Hill trying to help out in that area. Enzo Martinez taken out from behind. Jake Harmon actually wanted the advantage played. It's a good look at Alex Comcia, another one of those North Carolina boys. Like Tyler mentioned about Ben Spees, and so much talent being pumped out at Chapel Hill. Carlos Samoano, much like Todd Yeagley and a few others, seem to find themselves in the appropriate position every single year.
Manny Perez gets away from two different Jacks defenders. Tries to peel it back. Deleuze following the play up. Austin Deleuze trying to put it on frame and he tucks it in right before halftime. Captain Deleuze. And you can see what it means to Mr. North Carolina FC in a Southern Derby matchup against the Jacks. 1-0 to the visitors.
We said it might be a slip. It wasn't that directly. It was an ill-played ball by Alex Martinez, who just gave it away coming off of Iwolo. Austin Deleuze collects right at the top of the 18. How many times does he go one or two touch? That's a great look at it. Sets himself up on the right, buries it with the left. Don't mind if you do, Austin Deleuze. Well done for the visitors just before halftime.
And that's going to do it for the first half. Moments before Ismir Pekmic was going to blow the whistle. Austin Deleuze takes matters into his own hands. Not a perennial goal scorer by any stretch of the imagination, but Dave Sarakin and NCFC will take it. And now a much different mood in the locker room for both teams. Devin Kerr, your thoughts on it all?
Well, going into it, I was about to say someone's going to make a blatant mistake or you're going to have to go beat someone in a one-on-one situation. The mistake come first. Dave Sarakin and boys go into the locker room at halftime up 1-0, but still plenty of work to be done for both squads in the second half.
First goal of the season for Austin Deleuze. NCFC take a 1-0 lead into the halftime break. It's 1-0 here at the Sportsplex at Matthews.
These are the hands of Novant Health. The hands saving lives. Taking control when it matters most. These are the hands advancing care. They're skillful, precise, and compassionate.
It's gonna be okay from here.
They're the hands giving you strength. Those same hands delivering specialized care also take the time to hold yours. And they'll be waving goodbye as you walk out of our doors and back to your life. These are the hands of Novant Health. The hands making healthcare remarkable.
Mi tarjeta.
¿No encuentras tu tarjeta de débito? Desactívala con tu app.
Disculpa, estoy buscando mi tarjeta.
Esta es la tuya, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Y cuando la encuentres, vuélvela a activar.
Thanks. It's like a smart thing. What's the weather?
Sunny. Perfect chicken eating weather.
How'd you get in here?
It's time for chicken.
What's the traffic like?
Rerouting you to chicken.
Okay.
Hey, Calzo, order pizza.
Ordering chicken.
No, pizza.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chick-fil-A nuggets make dinner delightful.
Now that's smart.
Austin Deleuze with his first goal of the 2019 USL Championship season. It gives North Carolina FC the lead right before the break here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. We're moving right along the halftime show. Don't go anywhere. We'll have some news, notes, standings, as well as some other things right after we take a look at what's been going on around the USL Championship.
That's
where Louisville wants to attack, shooting and scoring.
Saved by Caldwell.
Collier. Yes!
Collier.
Knock back towards Spencer. Brilliant finish.
I think the best part was getting to play with all these fantastic players from like all over the states, and it was just really fun.
The 2019 class of the North Carolina State Hall of Fame.
Awesome stuff over in Tampa from the USL, and of course the next USL game of the week going to be between the back-to-back champs in Louisville and expansion club Memphis 901 FC. And we'll take a look at some news and notes from around our fabulous league. Tyler Terrens along with Devin Kerr, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your Saturday evening to enjoy the beautiful game. And Devin, Tampa Bay Rowdies, head of the power rankings, Santi Moar. Just give it to him.
You want to
Just
so
give
bad.
it to him.
Just so you know, Tyler Terrens has a conversation ongoing with one of the league executives and from a team. He said, I'll take the field. You can have Santi Moar. Tyler said, I'll do it. Give it to me. How about the Tampa Bay Rowdies? Still unbeaten. Got the weekend off, but they'll resume play midweek versus ATL UT2. John Hackworth and his boys, tell you what, they found a way to go to Al Lang and get a late point. Rowdies were kind of cruising, but about the 88th minute, they decided to turn it on, got a 1-1, got out. Got their hands full with Ottawa tonight, and then Memphis on the championship game of the week.
And that is a depleted Louisville squad is what Devin failed to mention, but of course knows. However, we'll take a look at our Wells Fargo standings in the Eastern Conference, and New York Rebels 2 have just been finding ways to get it done as usual. Tampa Bay Rowdies still unbeaten, but when you're drawing 3 games, well, you're not going to exactly be at the top of the standings. St. Louis FC still remain up top, even though they suffered their first loss to Birmingham Legion. Nashville slowly but surely starting to put it together. Atlanta United 2.
Just to give you a heads up, putting it together, they're losing 1-0 to the Battery right now. And oh, by the way, Red Bull trying to find a way to get it done regularly. Yeah, they lost 3-1 at home to Loud United.
Thank you for that.
Just letting you know.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
I can always count on you to
It's all love.
really. Is it?
It's people having people.
It's chicken.
Chicken. Chick-fil-A, as always.
Don't go anywhere. Second half kickoff coming up.
My card.
Misplace your debit card? Turn it off with your app.
Excuse me, my card.
This one's gotta be yours, right?
Yes.
And turn it on when you find it.
This is your health system, powered by Exos. Exos programs are shaped by science, driven by data, and dedicated to pioneering human performance at every level.
We train from youth ages through the professional ranks, in addition to the adult general population.
Though the goals of each individual may differ, the philosophy and approach are identical. Mindset, nutrition, movement, and recovery. These are the pillars of Exos programs and the foundation on which all athletic improvement is built.
They take you beyond the simplicity of the exercise and connect that to how it impacts your final performance.
Exos got me back in shape. I'm feeling great, sleeping well, eating right, body's back where it needs to be.
Rapid on three, rapid on three. 1, 2, 3, rapid.
Thanks. It's like a smart thing. What's the weather?
Sunny. Perfect chicken eating weather.
How'd you get in here?
It's time for chicken.
What's the traffic like?
Rerouting you to chicken.
Okay.
Hey, Calzo, order pizza.
Ordering chicken.
No, pizza.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chick-fil-A nuggets make dinner delightful.
Now that's smart.
I can't. Every time Chick-fil-A gets me. Just to sit, you looking at my face says it all.
It's every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's amazing.
Every time.
Good for them.
And how many times have we seen this already this year?
Yep.
17. Charlotte and North Carolina 1-0 at the half. And we'll take a look at the half that was here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. And Devin, I mean, we said it like around the 30, 35-minute mark. Nobody really wanted to take a stranglehold of this game. And Austin Deleuze is not a perennial goal scorer by any means. I don't think he's scored more than 5 goals in a season in his career. He gets his first of 2019 right before the stroke of halftime. But Charlotte had a couple of early opportunities. Nicky Jackson, this is in the first 20 seconds. I mean, did you think somebody was going to get a goal in the first half?
It looked like it in the first 10 minutes or so, because there was a lot of transitional play, teams trying to feel each other out, but the game really slowed down. You saw the midfield play in the likes of Tommy McCabe, Austin Deleuze, Michael Maria, and Mark Hill, and really, they were just trying to get their troops in order. Generals leading them into the battleground, back and forth, half chances all over. This is probably the best one out of Nicky Jackson, who tried to beat Tambakis from distance. Manny Perez had himself a first half. I really like him in the midfield position, at least in this game. He's struggled in previous ones, but he's shown his biggest asset, his ability to pick people out in the box. He can put a ball on a dime. He did so. How about the ball that made its way back to Ben Spees? Great first touch, even better second, but could not get about a millimeter more inside the likes of Curtis Anderson. Bounced out. NCFC couldn't get it.
And then this would be the goal. I mean, if you're Jim McGinnis, you can't be happy with, I don't even know if that was a clearance from Alex Martinez. I don't know what it was.
And if you keep an eye on Alex Martinez, the first touch by Deleuze sets himself up perfectly. But Alex Martinez is the one who gave the ball away. And then when the shot comes, doesn't step in, turns his back. Go to ground. Release your entire body and throw it in front of the ball, because worst case scenario, if you go and he takes another touch to his side, he's now pushing himself away from net, and you've got an outside back in the likes of Joel Johnson, who can then be the stalwart. That didn't happen. NCFC gets the goal, gets the momentum, and they have the opportunity to go and get another 3 points right now.
And NCFC dominating the possession statistic, and the Sportsplex at Matthews suits them. It's similar to Wake Med, just in the sense that it's a big field, grass. It's usually pretty good with the exception of the rain, and they're just able to move it around. And Devin, obviously this sport can bring people together, and that's what's needed to happen, especially in the Charlotte area as of late. If you have seen some hashtags, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be at the Sportsplex at Matthews using hashtag McKenna Strong, McKenna Woodhead got into a jet skiing accident last summer, and she was a player for the Carolina Rapids. She attends Clover High School in York County, and the entire community has just rallied around McKenna as she continues to recover from this jet skiing incident that she had. I mean, the community has raised tens of thousands of dollars, and these are the sorts of moments where take a step back, and you don't need these moments to understand it and to put it into perspective. It's always in perspective, but this is one of those moments that you just sort of sit back and say, wow, this is the sort of thing that can bring everybody together.
She's a U.S. Women's National Team. She believes hero, and they graced her with that honor, and she deserves it. Her friend that was with her actually pulled her to safety and saved her from being drowned. I mean, that gives you an idea of what went on. So an excellent opportunity for her to get a second chance at life. McKenna Strong Light was last week. They raised a boatload of money for her. They have a GoFundMe page. There's plenty of going on within her foundation. And you know what? Coming up through the Carolina Rapids, she hasn't become diminished. She's still got this very strong mind that she's capable to do anything, and it does put things in perspective that you are capable if you set your mind to it.
And we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Charlotte Independents, and as you can see, they're going to start to get away from the Sportsplex at Matthews a little bit more. They're at Tampa, at Hartford in the opening of Pratt Whitney, and that should be a very interesting contest as Jimmy Nielsen's crew will hopefully already have their first win by then, but
0 for 7.
It's tough.
The league didn't do them any favors with scheduling. They
well,
have one of the hardest
Well, listen,
opening
it's not
schedules.
the league. They needed to finish their stadium. Like, it's not 100% their fault.
You didn't have to send them on the road to Red Bull 2, to the Battery, to NCFC, to basically every team that was going to be a playoff team this year. When you take a look at North Carolina FC, how about them? So there's the Hartford Athletic game coming up. Then you go at Indy 11. Indy 11 looks good. They put a hurting on Swope Park Rangers earlier this week. They did the
You
same
always
thing
tell
today.
me not to get ahead of myself. They played 4 games, all right?
5.
5,
And they're
excuse me.
4-1-0. Their only loss to St. Louis FC.
Yep, it's true. It's all true. Birmingham Legion home, and then they'll be at New York Red Bulls 2 on May 24th. I'm going to ask for a hot take. Is North Carolina FC a playoff team this year?
They'll get in. I don't think they'll be a top 4 team. They'll get into the playoffs.
7 to 10?
Yeah, 7 to 10. There's a couple teams in the Eastern Conference. You could, West, I have no idea. I mean, it's so wide open. You could make a better argument for what's going to happen in the West in the top 4 as opposed to what's going to happen in the playoff picture. For the East, they're a team that you could see them being a 6-7. You could see them being that 10 that's got to be in that play-in game. So a lot of work for them to be done. It's like we talked about in the first half. They've done things better than we saw in 2018, but the results are still similar. So until you get some of the bigger wins underneath your belt and you show me a couple games in form outside of wins in certain areas that we've seen so far, like not the greatest results, but not the worst. So some momentum to be had. Now what do you do with it? This is a great example. You're on the road against the Independents, up 1-0 at halftime. Can you close it out?
Meanwhile, on the other side for the Charlotte Independents, how much did the Nikki Jackson injury midway through the first half affect what they were trying to do offensively?
Massive. It was a massive blow to them. Nikki Jackson brought a different dimension to this squad, and that's where we talked about the end of the Jorge Herrera area previously. We didn't want him to be out of the squad. We wanted him on the field, but he can no longer play that number 9 that extends the back line and creates more space underneath. Enter Nikki Jackson. Last game we saw that a lot where he would push that high line, allow Herrera and Alex Martinez underneath him, and Damo Duro to explore a bit more. They drastically lost that opportunity when he stepped off.
Well, now it looks like Jorge is going to be playing in that number 9 role. It finds the feet of Alex Martinez, similar spot to where he delivered the goal for Jorge. Overlapping is Joel Johnson. He delivers it in. Tambakis off of his line, spills it initially, and finally able to gobble it up. But good opening build-up play from the Jacks. Tambakis not really tested in the first half. As Charlotte were able to get a number of shots off, but none of them really hitting the frame. Well done from Johnson. Mark Hill just trying to curl it into the channel. Just a minute into this second half here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Tyler Terrens along with Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us on a Saturday evening here in Matthews, North Carolina. 3 points up for grabs in the USL Championship Eastern Conference, and perhaps even better yet, in the Southern Derby, which of course involves Charlotte, North Carolina FC, and the Charleston Battery. Armin finding the feet of Enzo Martinez, showing good strength, trying to turn. He's fouled, and now a set-piece opportunity. Enzo Martinez is wondering why a card hasn't been brandished.
Regardless, still had an opportunity to be taken down, and that sounds ridiculous, but not a lot of movement out of the Rock Hill native in the first 45 minutes. Saw a lot more of his brother, and unfortunately, a lot of it was on the negative side, especially on the goal, where he turned the ball over right at the top of the 18 and couldn't get stuck in Austin to lose.
So who gets to hit this? The 38-year-old.
Mark Hill.
Wow.
All day.
All day.
All day with pace from distance.
You're acting like Jorge Herrera hasn't scored some beautiful set pieces before.
I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm just saying I want Mark Hill hitting this ball.
Okay. I don't think Jorge Herrera does.
With the way things are lining up here and he's asking it, it looks like Herrera wants to have a go. Look at the angle that he's got on. He's very straight on in this ball. Watch him back off and have Hill hit it immediately.
It will be Hill. And Tambakis handles it cleanly. Devin, it almost is like you've done this before.
Didn't say it was going to go in, though, did it?
No.
Didn't call that one. It's a good look. It's an opportunity that won't be allowed in the near future, where some of the guys won't be able to stand in front of the boys in the wall due to rule changes. We'll talk about that in a bit. Markel tries to drop this in front of Tambakis. That's one of those spots where hit it with a bit more power, or maybe go far post, go on the ground. Much easier for Tambakis to clean up in that situation.
DJ Taylor trying to go over the top. Steve Tico wins it. Gutman finding Alex Martinez.
Novant Health is the official healthcare provider of the Charlotte Independence.
Now, somebody's standing in front of the ball like that, and you're trying to play quickly.
Rip it at him.
That's what I was taught.
But what's funny is when it all depends on the referee, because there's times where the ball's there and you're trying to play, they won't go. So you ping it at them as hard as possible, and the ref thing will let you play on, which is ridiculous.
Or they didn't see it.
Or I've never had that happen. But I've had it happen where I've tried to ping it off them to prove a point. Well, it's like, you played it, it's your fault.
But technically, it's supposed to be a yellow card.
It's their fault, and it should be a yellow card, correct.
So theoretically, you should just rip it at them every time. But again, it's if you have a bad ref.
A bad call.
Michael Maria. Johnson. Bit of a hospital ball for Jorge Herrera. Falls for the Spaniard Johnson again. Great little 1-2. And now it's Maria in space. Switching the point of attack. Armin brings it down using his noggin. Maria. To lose his goal, the difference maker right now in this Southern Derby.
Don't forget, fans, for the second half, you can get to know the faces on the field through our roster card and game day program. You can scan the QR
Just like you mentioned, I mean, on the goal, if it's this wet and it's slick, keep it on the ground. Ball will do the work for you.
Unfortunately, a lot of the players haven't recognized that so far.
Iwalo. Lomas, he's been quiet tonight. Looking to make a bit of noise here. Gets the return and was going for the curler. Scintillating build-up play for North Carolina FC.
Notice the progression by the visiting squad, why Charlotte Independence couldn't pick it up. Tyler mentioned that Marios Lomas not very active in the first half, and not necessarily his fault. Good job going back here. A bit of frustration, the big number 9 coming back to get it, but it allowed Ben Spees to play point man up top. Lomas recognized that. Nice little 1-2. Went for the far corner curler.
And Lomas is offside.
Do like the combination of Hugh Roberts and Steven Tico. Tico is someone who was not on my radar whatsoever for this squad. I think he's made himself a nice little home on the back line.
Well, it's just that synergy is developing with Hugh Roberts as North Carolina FC moving again, showing teeth. Manny Perez. McCabe. Delu's keeping the train moving. Here's Guillen. Deleuze wants to put this one in. Keeps it low. Roberts straight back to Deleuze. Iwalo. DJ Taylor. Now wide for Perez again. Numbers in the box for NCFC. Delivery was awkward. Curtis Anderson didn't come off of his line. Mark Hill wins it, finding the feet of Alex Martinez. Well done to play out of pressure. Skips away from Enzo, and the Jacks continue to chase. Possession battle was won 61-39 to North Carolina in the first half. Is that not good enough from Jim McGinnis' side in a home derby match?
The bigger concern isn't necessarily that they didn't have a lot of possession. It was the fact that they were willing to sit back and not chase. How many times in their opening matches have we seen them employ a press and go after the game? That hasn't been the case tonight. They've let Dave Sarakin and co. really dictate anything that they want to do, left to right, back and forth. And you can also say, look, if they're going side to side, what does it really matter? But that also goes back to both the physical and mental attrition. It can take a toll on you. We saw some of that come into play at the end of the first half, where guys just not the best decision making from the Charlotte Independents. Even Alex Martinez, who let that goal get away from him.
Cross takes a deflection. Tico stabs it away. Dave Sarakin's bunch put the clamps down on the home side of the Charlotte Independents. Herrera.
There is not a challenge that Enzo Martinez.
Bad giveaway. Here's Lomas trying to chip Anderson, and good cover from Hugh Roberts, but a mess at the back for Charlotte.
Well, just as I was talking about Enzo Martinez arguing a challenge, NCFC gets one of their own. Terrible giveaway. Curtis Anderson was beat. Lomas just couldn't get enough behind it.
Sluggish start to the second half for Charlotte.
Fans, don't forget you're home for your official event.
It looks like he's having a conversation with Zion Jones.
Located at the main entrance where you can find hats, t-shirts,
Trying to spark some energy
that's the team store.
into this team that doesn't necessarily have a whole lot right now. It's totally different than any look that we've seen from them so far. And going into this game, we took a look at the starting lineup, said it's not bad, that's a good idea to get some of your attack-minded players on the field. Haven't really taken any advantage of that. Haven't challenged Hembakis. Opening 5-10 minutes, you saw a couple runs from Andrew Gutman on the left side. Those have faded away. No counterbalance on the right from Joel Johnson.
Andrew Gutman chasing after this one. Can Charlotte perhaps steal an equalizer against the run of play? Armin on the first time. Mark Hill. Armin. Towards the byline. Keeps it in play. Or did he? He did not.
If McGinnis does go with Zion Jones, that'll give them some of that speed that they lost when Nicky Jackson went off. Take a look at the rest of the cast of characters on the bench. Damoduro, another option. Abdoulaye Mansali could jump in as well. Other than that, pretty much looking at a goalkeeper holding midfielder. So he does have the attacking options there, which is nice. It's all about which ones he wants to choose. Goes with youth and inexperience at the pro level and the likes of Zion Jones, who does have a massive amount of talent. Remember, this kid was one who came up through the Atlanta youth program next to the likes of George Bell and Andrew Carlton. They won a national championship together in 2016 for the U17s. Both of those have gone on to gain appearances for Frank de Boer's side and Atlanta United. Although struggling. Yeah, that's. We don't have enough time for that conversation.
Yes, we do. They've just been bad.
Yeah. Over and done.
Alex Martinez giving chase, but Guillen will just see this one out. And it'll just be a goal kick. It was a foul on Alex Martinez, but it behooves North Carolina to have the goal kick. And it is going to be Jones coming on. Coming over from the Schalke U19 side where he made 18 appearances. He will make his debut here at the Sportsplex at Matthews in a Charlotte Independence uniform, and he will replace fellow youngster and Mark Hill here in the 58th minute.
Number 21, Zion Jones.
Thoughts on Hill's performance tonight?
Did what he had to do. You need to find an offensive spark out of him, but that's difficult to do when they don't have it starting up top from the guys that's their main job. So paired next to Michael Maria, I think the two of them were lost in the middle just a touch. To be fair, it's not like Austin Deleuze and Tommy McCabe are necessarily overrunning them. You've just seen better play from the outside players of NCFC, more specifically just the distribution in general. Manny Perez on the right will be very familiar with Zion Jones, both of them getting opportunities. As we mentioned before, Perez with the U20s and Tab Ramos. Zion Jones, the same.
Your middle of the park is mighty young for Jim McGinnis right now between Michael Maria and Zion Jones.
He'll probably let Jake Arman tuck back in there, to be honest. Sit alongside Michael Maria.
That's your wily veteran, huh?
It's funny, but you're bringing Zion Jones in for a reason. You can't put Martinez back there or Herrera, and you don't have really any other option other than to move Jake Arman in there and move Jones out to the left or put Martinez back out there.
Delivery towards the back post and dealt with nicely by Joel Johnson. And any sort of head chest back to the keeper will always, always, always get a rise out of Devin Kerr.
It's difficult. I know. You don't see a lot of good decision-making in that area from players in this league, and their ability to understand their surroundings. He had a threat on the back shoulder, but still had the composure to show proper technique, take it off his chest, and just gift it to his goalkeeper, retain possession, they get an opportunity to go the other way.
Iwalo, doubled down by Alex Martinez and Joel Johnson to get the better of him. All the way back for Curtis Anderson. And Devin, Jake Arman has tucked inside.
Zion Jones on the left. Hurts. It
hurts to be that good.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really have much of a life. So when you see as much tape as I've seen, you get an idea of what McGinnis is thinking. It does make you wonder kind of what could have been with the loss of Jackson and with Zion Jones. But again, it's the depth of the bench and another opportunity for them to put pace and precision in the final third to full effect.
Here is Jones, 18-year-old driving with great pace, gets to the byline. And his first contribution for the Jacks. Wins a corner. Just gliding past defenders. Nobody wanted to step to him.
That was Alex Comcia, who came over from the center back position to get stuck in. He's played against him before with the Canadian U20s. And I'm sure the two were familiar with each other last year on the collegiate scene, however. Two very different divisions.
Here's Roberts, and it's caught by Tambakis. Spees trying to go over the top of Jones. Manny Perez and Jones over on the far side between the two of them. Equals the age of Jorge Herrera.
For all the excitement during the prestigious U.S. Open Cup right here at the Sportsplex. Your Charlotte Independence face off against the non-conference
Lomas. Roberts goes to ground and gets it perfectly right.
Get your tickets today.
Dave Sarakin was asking for Donovan to be played in. Unfortunately, there wasn't really a run to be had. He was too narrow to play something in behind the back line and wasn't wide enough to put it down in the channel. Lomas tried to hold up play, but just got his pocket picked a bit.
North of the hour mark here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Austin Deleuze with the lone goal literally seconds before the halftime whistle. keeping an eye on the other Southern Derby triumvirate in Charleston Batteries, still holding on to that 1-0 lead over Nashville. Halftime in that game. Alex Martinez stumbles just a bit, and that threw him off in his attack. The champions with a 1-0 lead over Ottawa Fury. That game at Slugger. Lucky Kosana with the lone goal on that one so far. How about the score you just flashed me? San Antonio and the Monarchs.
Watch out. Halftime, it was 2-0.
Everything was going well for San Antonio. They got 2 wins after a slow start to the season. You're up 2-0.
Until it wasn't.
Until you're not.
Until it wasn't. You wonder what Darren Powell is thinking in his mind. I mean, Martin Vasquez, a good coach. Real Monarchs haven't necessarily been the greatest this year. Not bad, but not what they were in 2017 and 18.
Style of the Royal Express. Royal Express is our very own Independence bus.
And what's that, losing in the first round of the postseason?
How many people fall asleep in this game? St. Louis FC and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. 2 just ridiculous.
That's the footballing equivalent to an ambient.
Yes, just so great coaches. Just not the most exciting games. Different styles, a little bit old school. They get it done.
Herrera trying to find Gutman, didn't have nearly enough on it. Enzo Martinez trying to find Herrera. Up steps the North Carolina FC back line.
I'll shout if it happens.
And now the Jacks are starting to put their stamp on this game. After what was a pretty slow start to the second half and a lot of North Carolina FC possession. Steve Miller getting set to come on for Dave Sarachan. And a set piece for Charlotte.
Stephen Miller coming on. That will most likely be the end of Manny Perez's night. Miller seems to be the regular starter out there for Dave Sarachan.
Enzo Martinez out for Johnson. Now he'll deliver. Good step from Enzo. Armin hitting it with the right foot. It took a deflection. And a corner kick coming up for the Charlotte Independents.
Good take by Jake Armin. Wondered if this was gonna sit nicely for him. It did, especially with the weather and the field the way it's been. The deflection over the end line, and they've gone to this 2-man game for the Charlotte Independents out there, and I don't mind it because you pull more bodies out of the box. They don't exactly have the biggest lineup to really challenge in the middle of the box. Got to bring like Hugh Roberts, Steven Tico up to get that job done.
Header won by Perez. Michael Marie was trying to bring it down and hit it, went to ground and got it wrong. And that should be a yellow card as Austin Deleuze is in some pain. And it is a card for Maria.
Austin Deleuze took this one hard, didn't he?
We're being told Steve Miller's going to come on for Donovan Uolo. You're wrong sometimes, and it happens.
I don't mind being wrong, just surprised that that's the change that they're making. Uolo has been the less effective figure.
And it's going to be Dominic Oduro coming on for Enzo Martinez. Enzo will toss the captain's armband over to Alex. Although I have a feeling he'll dish it one more time over to Herrera. But again, for Enzo, still looking for his first goal of the 2019 campaign. Another pedestrian performance, is that a fair word?
Very easy to say. You just, so many times in 2017 and prior, you saw him just take over a game. someone who did it on the individual level so many times, and so much so that he earned himself a shot in the MLS with the Colorado Rapids last year. You know, I had the opportunity to talk with Tim Howard. He said, look, got plenty of opportunities, thought he did a great job for us. Was actually quite surprised they didn't give him another look. And since he's come back, it seems like it was almost a setback for him. And you wonder if that was a bit mentally defeating. You could understand that from a playing standpoint, how maybe it's a look at another level that you feel you should have had a better opportunity, and could be a bit depressing. Regardless of what it is, Enzo Martinez is not the one of past, and they're hoping he can be there in the future. Austin Deleuze is feeling that one. And Dave Sarakin now wondering if this is the card he's going to play. As he was going to bring on Stephen Miller for Donovan Awolo, but Austin Deleuze, very tentative in his actions coming off the field. Took a nasty knock from Michael Maria, who picked up that yellow card. And the last thing you want to see is your captain coming off in that manner.
And North Carolina's trying to figure out exactly what's going on personnel-wise now.
He didn't wave him on.
And now Graham Smith's going to come on and replace Deleuze. So Deleuze right now has what stands as the game winner.
Off was injured player number 6, Austin Deleuze.
NCFC attacking after the restart. Perez and Gutman going after it. Could very well be teammates one day over at Celtic.
How interesting that changes things a bit now when you immediately think you're going to inject some life into this game, and Dave Sarakin might be going after his second goal, bringing some fresh legs on the outside and the likes of Stephen Miller. Instead, you lose your captain and the glue that has held this entire thing together with that brilliant goal just before halftime in the likes of Austin Deleuze. Graham Smith will now hold down the fort.
Speaking of glue, that's why you never truly replace them on your board until they come onto the field. And now I'm busy with arts and crafts over here.
Stick with tape.
That's a buzzkill for Steve Miller.
It does really destroy you as a person.
It
when
kills you.
Because the public doesn't realize.
This delivery skips all the way towards the back post. It remains with NCFC.
That on a regular basis, about 10 minutes after halftime, you're just told to go down in the corner and stay warm. And you run back and forth, but there's only so many times you can take a look at the game, stay stretched, stay warm, until he calls your number. You get over, take the training top off, throw the jersey on, you get to the sideline, no, go have a seat. At that point in time, you just say, well, why bring me on at all? You know, you throw your tantrum. I actually had that happen to me in a trial for a local club when I was younger. I was about 16 years old, and it was a semi-professional team. I was just looking to get reps at a higher level. I had trained well with them. I had actually gotten a couple looks in 2 of their first preseason games, and the third one, 85th minute. I was kind of like, why am I not getting put on? So I just started doing super legs, which was a set of things that you basically only do when you want to run your body into the ground and get a great workout in. Yeah, they threw me on in the 89th minute. I could barely move. I couldn't run at all. Went to go into a challenge. My legs were like absolute anvils. Needless to say, didn't leave a lasting impression in those 2 minutes that I was on.
Hence the story of Devin Kerr, now a broadcaster. Just think what could have been had you not done that workout before you went on. You could be challenging the likes of Jorge Herrera right now.
To be honest, the way my body feels now, I'm actually quite grateful. I don't have to move at all now. It's a lot of running back then. Now it's just kind of point and click.
No, your knee will just lock up in the middle of a broadcast and you won't be able to talk for 45 seconds.
Truth. Not the most fun thing, is it?
1775 Pale Ale, that's just good beer.
Duro was trying to get it along for Gutman or perhaps Jones. Meanwhile, Manny Perez sent the other way. North Carolina looking for an insurance goal. Here's Lomas. There is the insurance goal. And they get it through their main man, Marios Lomas. And surely North Carolina FC will walk away from yet another Southern Derby match against Charlotte with 3 points, a matchup in which they have dominated as of late.
We said, how great has Manny Perez been with his service into the box. Ben Spees saw it. Mario Sloma saw one in the first half. He puts this exactly where you want it as an attacker. Just sits up right in front of him. The M&M boys doing work right inside the 6-yard box. Curtis Anderson could do nothing but watch the great build-up play. And how about the hug from the number 9 up top, recognizing the great run of form by Manny Perez out on the right wing.
So North Carolina FC take a 2-0 lead. Just about 17 minutes remaining plus stoppage time. Well, we'll have a bit of it considering the Austin Deleuze injury. Almost the exact opposite for Charlotte in terms of how the Bethlehem game went, excuse me. They get the opening goal, they get a late one with about 20 minutes left. And now the boot is very much now on the other foot.
31 for 7, 31 for 7.
Now we're going to see the Steve Miller for Iwolo sub. Think he was doing wind sprints on the side?
North Carolina substitution.
I'm sure that's exactly what he was doing.
Stepping on to the
and then now he puts the jacket back on. Now the kit man's upset because he's gotten it all sweaty. He's taking it off, put it on. Now he's got extra laundry to do.
Can I put Miller on my board now?
You're good to go.
Okay.
He's still struggling from that little ink in his armor he took in the first half where no one really touched him. He was the one who struck the ball, and his ankle just didn't catch it clean.
So Steve Miller, 29-year-old from Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, in his 4th season with NCFC, Colgate University product, coming onto the scene.
And you hate to think about this, but remember, with Charlotte Independence, they've scored 8 goals this year, 6 of which have come in the final 18 minutes of a game. So never a look that you necessarily want to have as a manager, but a good card to have in your back pocket if need be.
Oduro. Alex Martinez now. Johnson wanted it. Martinez for Oduro. Back for Johnson. And that was the only option that Dominic Oduro had, was to go for the back heel, because the ball from Martinez didn't do him any favors, nor does that. Just sort of skied up. Herrera will take it on the first time. And a goal kick coming for Tambakis. Well, it's that vaunted 2-goal lead. For some reason, it's just an automatic switch in the human footballing brain. Just sort of says, stop playing. Stop doing what you've been doing. And allow the other team to creep back into the game. It's incredible. But that's what makes this game, sports, beautiful. It's not robots playing it, it's humans.
Thanks for the clarification.
I'm just saying.
Appreciate that. It's a circle, not a square. How deep is Michael Maria here? Jake Arman had to be the one that dropped in there, and the midfield of Jim McGinnis really struggling. To be fair, this game has really gotten away from them with the departure of Nicky Jackson. Ever since then, trying to play catch up. Haven't always been far behind NCFC, but never truly been in the driving seat at all.
Fans, don't forget to check out Jack's.
This has been a difficult stretch for Charlotte, just in terms of the amount of miles put on the odometer. 3 games in 7 days. 2-1 loss against New York Rebels 2, 2-1 win against the Bethlehem Steel, and now trail North Carolina FC by a score of 2-0.
NCFC just biding their time here. Have the opportunity to kind of do whatever they want at this point in time with that 2-0 lead. They're fluctuating in and out of a press and non-press. They need to be careful. Don't want that man to be given any unnecessary space. Best chances they had were in the opening 10 minutes with him on the ball.
Jones dancing a bit. Was he taken down? Referee says no. You had your hand up.
It looked like he got him before he got the ball.
Lomas, just a touch over for Perez. You can see is laboring a bit. The 79th minute now, trying to get around Hugh Roberts, running out of legs, and good defending from Hugh.
Select is the
Definitely
official ball supplier of the USL Championship
bit of
in many of the finest leagues
lethargy in
the
there
Since
for Manny Perez.
Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality
In the first half, he was quite quick with that first step, some couple step overs and down into the channel, ball knocked in. Obviously the great one put on the platter for Mario Slomis on the second goal that really opened things up here.
Lethargy.
Yeah.
You didn't do too well on your SATs, though. Certainly not the vocab section.
It's more of a science guy, ACT. That was my real game.
Was it?
32 out of 36. It was equivalent to a 14-20.
You did not.
I swear. Ask me what my SATs were.
What were your SATs?
Not good. 12-10.
Oh,
not good.
That's all 3 sections.
I didn't get my name right, so lost those 500 points.
Here's Spees looking for the curler, and what a save from Curtis Anderson. Not much he could have done about either goal that's been scored on him tonight, but does a lot about that shot from Ben Spees.
Curtis Anderson asking for his back line to step up a bit higher. He said, come on, boys. We said if he was truly challenged, what would it be? Great job by Spees. I mean, this is headed right into the upper 90. Curtis Anderson, not only is he extended, he gets 2 hands on the ball. Beyond difficult for a goalkeeper to do. Many a time you'll see him with one outstretched hand. That's not the case for the Englishman. Excellent save.
Chick-fil-A corner kick coming up, courtesy of North Carolina FC, up to 81st minute. Jones on the turn. Good matchup there with DJ Taylor. Taylor also has been a part of the U.S. Youth National System and U18 team.
Still time for Jim McGinnis and his boys to get back in this. Not a bad shift from that man right there, Manny Perez, and a most recently great save by Curtis Anderson. Still nothing really been that appealing in the final third for Charlotte Independence. Funny because we've seen this evolution of the squad where they had trouble on the defending side of things, were great for about 20-25 minute spans on the offensive side, and it's kind of digressed a bit there.
Herrera was trying to find it. Gutman has gotten forward. Kills the attack for Charlotte. Maria has to go negative. And NCFC end up winning it back. And they'll wisely recycle.
Who's up, who's down, where does your club sit? Find out every Monday the official USL Championship Power Rankings only on USLChampionship.com.
North Carolina FC has never lost at the Sportsplex at Matthews. They're on their way to what would be their 6th win against the Charlotte Independents all time, with Charlotte only having won 1 game. And the goal differential now stands at +17 for North Carolina FC in this series.
That's a problem. that is. And outside of...
Get there in a moment. Andrew Gutman just dinking one in.
Outside of tactics, philosophies, the personnel that are on the field, where's the emotion in this game? I mean, this just comes down to a rivalry and who wants it more. And eventually you got to step up and say, let's go get it. It's embarrassing for that statistic and those numbers to be at play, especially when it comes to your home ground.
I hear you.
Don't spin it.
I'm not going to spin it, but I'm just going to say that it's not like you have the same guys on the field each year and it means something. I mean, how many of these young guys, and including a guy like Dominic O'Durr in his first season for Charlotte, now here's Zion Jones who just came over. For a lot of these guys, this rivalry means nothing to them.
Tell that to Austin Deleuze. See what he says to you.
I'm not talking about Austin Deleuze.
But that's when you get players like him, players like Enzo Martinez, players like Alex Martinez, many more on Charlotte Independence, and Jorge Herrera, and the list goes on, than on NCFC, although they do have a pretty decent core as well. That's when you get those players before the dressing room and say, listen, this is your first rivalry game. This is the first time you've been here. You've been at other clubs, but now it's time to go and help us win something that means something to this team and this organization. They obviously haven't done that.
No, and it seems like Austin Deleuze, I'm sure, had a conversation with everybody that basically said, we don't lose to this team.
Ever.
It's not starting today.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's your number 6, your captain, who grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, as Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it into the side netting. That's what he's capable of. It locks up 3 points. It's a 3rd goal for North Carolina FC. Ben Spees has scored all sorts of big goals in the state of North Carolina. And that one might have topped them all. That is a laser.
That gives you an idea of what this means as he immediately goes over to the traveling group from the Oak City supporters. Great strike by Austin Deleuze. This is even better. How nice, off the inside of the post, 25 yards out. Anderson can do nothing but look in utter disgust because that was a bit of brilliance by Ben Spees, who has been active all game long, caught the woodwork in the opening 45 minutes. This time around, he gets those few millimeters back, puts it off the inside. That'll be the 3rd goal, and that will 100% be 3 points and what has been a terrible rivalry game for the Independents. However, Dave Sarakin's boys can hold their heads up high because they have done the job very well.
So that will officially put an end to the 3-game winless streak for Dave Sarakin's bunch. Ben Spees with what I assure you is going to be a USL Championship Goal of the Week nominee. Do not at me. Bit of a wake-up call for Charlotte as this one skips all the way through for Alex Martinez. Gutman on the first time.
It's nice to see that they haven't tucked their tail and run away on the night. Andrew Gutman felt like had a good opportunity, and there is the shout from Tambakis as he goes to ground immediately. And Sam Brotherton, and they are waving him on. He is not okay. They are calling for all hands on deck. Hard to see where he gets caught up here as he turns around. Looks like he's fine there. Didn't turn his ankle or anything, and as this ball comes across, just nicked his hand on what, though?
Well, we did have that dislocated finger of Major League Soccer.
Did he catch his fingernail on someone's shirt?
Dave Sarakin asked him if he's all right. He says, yeah. That was a bizarre sequence because every player, including Jorge Herrera from Charlotte, was saying, get him off, get him. I mean, you would think that there was a bone sticking out of his leg.
Merely a flesh wound. Poor guy.
Somewhere Sam Stockley is
well,
writhing around in pain with that accent.
He gets upset at his own accent. More concerned with our producer, Sharni Yurki, what she hears. Never a big fan of my English humored accent. She's more of a fan of the Irish or the French.
Our producer, Jake Leota, certainly doesn't like your accent tonight either.
No.
Although he's not as privy to it as Sharni is. What a performance from North Carolina FC on the road here at Sportsplex at Matthews, a place where they have never lost. Austin Deleuze, Mario Slomis, and then a bullet from Ben Spees.
To be fair, all 3 goals have been good. Good goals. And now it's an unnecessary.
Lomis's looked way too easy.
But how good was the ball served in? That's why it was so easy.
But nobody was even close to him. Roberts and Tico were both 5 yards away from him on either side.
Bad defending does not take away from great distribution in the likes of Perez on the right
Takes
side.
a little bit away from it.
No.
A little bit.
Him being unmarked in the middle has nothing to do with the ball that's put in there.
It has something to do with the fit. It's not like Lomis's finish was groundbreaking.
No, the finish, of course. I'm saying the build-up play, good ball in. Yeah, it's an easy finish.
I'll never take something away from the distributor, but I'm just saying that I'm more impressed with the Spees and the Deleuze goal than I am with the Lomas goal.
We are in agreement.
Okay. Good effort. Damo Duro just pulls it wide. Actually took a deflection.
Independence corner kick presented by Chick-fil-A, taken by number 10.
Damo felt like he could sneak this to the back post on a quick turn. It was a nice one. As you mentioned, the deflection. Still an opportunity for the Jacks from the corner. Good job. Never really getting on Tambakis there, was it?
That was incredible.
Fans, the 4th official has just announced a minimum of 4 minutes of added time.
How does he get a body part on this in general? Get alone his head over.
That was a solid contact header.
Fantastic stuff from Zion Jones. And a glimpse of what could be for the future of not only the Charlotte Independence, but U.S. men's national team if he continues to develop. Again, still very young and a lot to be had in that time frame.
I'm going to liken him to somebody. Stop me if I'm completely off beat here, okay? Jonathan Lewis.
That's a good call.
Thank you. Jonathan Lewis, who was on loan a little bit for Louisville City FC in the middle of 2018 when John Hackworth took over. Of course, the connection that they have to the U.S. Youth National Systems. He was with NYCFC, and he really didn't get any runs last year with NYCFC, and he comes on and is basically like a regular substitute appearance now for the U.S. men's national team, and now is starting to get the reps that he deserves with NYCFC.
Some of that's also the relationship that Claudio Reyna has with Berhalter at the national level. He did an interesting interview, Jonathan Lewis, and he talked about the systems and kind of understanding the soccer IQ, how to fluctuate between the two and how difficult it was for him last year. And he seems that the progression's a bit easier this year, that he finds more similarities in the system. And that's not a knock on Hackworth, it's just the systems that are at play.
Almost halfway through the stoppage time, which is presented by Jack's House, as Andrew Gutman tries to curl one in, never gets past the first defender. Gutman back in. Hugh Roberts just tried to help it along, hoping that maybe Jorge Herrera might be able to get on the end of it at the back post.
Corner kick presented by Chick-fil-A, by number 10, Herrera.
Chick-fil-A corner kick coming to you from Jorge Herrera. Roberts is there. Here's Armin. Tambakis punches it away. Good looking save from the Greece native.
Jake Armin just loads up, releases. Like he just does it with the left, does it with the right. He's pretty good with both feet, to be fair. But again, struggling, like Enzo Martinez, to really find his identity within this squad.
Aaron Guillen will stay down.
This was from behind and a bit nasty, to be honest. Takes a good whack. You get another look. Oh, that's dangerous.
I thought he got more of the ball initially.
Leg over the front.
It's frustration boiling over, I think is safe to say.
Good idea by Zion Jones, but not enough speed by Damo Doro, as Alex Comcia had already seen that threat coming. Damo Doro then the benefactor of a bad bounce. How's it go? A lot of frustration for the Charlotte Independents tonight. We said it wasn't the best we'd seen out of them in the first half. It's only gotten worse here in the second.
2 goals in the second half, 1 in the first. Just to recap, Austin Deleuze right before the stroke of halftime. And it was Marios Lomas with about 17 minutes left in the most recent development. Ben Spees caps the 3rd goal as Ismir Pekmic brings this one to a close here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. North Carolina FC put an end to their 3-game winless streak. They take down the Charlotte Independents at home by a score of 3-0. Deleuze, Lomas, and Spees, the goal scorers in the first ever meeting between Dave Sarakin and Jim McGinnis. It's 1 step forward and 2 steps back for Jim McGinnis's bunch as they drop their contest after their first win of the season. And the traveling supporters loving every minute of it. Devin Kerr, quickly your thoughts.
Brilliant, you hit the nail on the head. It just wasn't enough emotion within this match for the Charlotte Independents. The visitors came in, they did exactly what they wanted to do all game long. Not a massive amount of energy, however, they pick and chose their spots, put 3 in the back of the net. They're gonna get 3 points, deservedly so.
We'll put a bow on it when we come back. 3-0 is the final score to the visitors.
Thanks. It's like a smart thing. What's the weather?
Sunny. Perfect chicken eating weather.
How'd you get in here?
It's time for chicken.
What's the traffic like?
Rerouting you to chicken.
Okay.
Hey, Calzo, order pizza.
Ordering chicken.
No, pizza.
Chicken.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chick-fil-A nuggets make dinner delightful.
Now that's smart.
These are the hands of Novant Health. The hands saving lives. Taking control when it matters most. These are the hands advancing care. They're skillful, precise, and compassionate.
It's gonna be okay from here.
They're the hands giving you strength. Those same hands delivering specialized care also take the time to hold yours. And they'll be waving goodbye as you walk out of our doors and back to your life. These are the hands of Novant Health, the hands making healthcare remarkable.
Full time here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. All smiles from the visitors and the visiting supporters. Lomas, Alex Tambakis, Tommy McCabe, everybody showing love to those who made the 2.5-hour drive. From in and around the Wake Med Sock Park area, Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr will take a look at the 90 minutes that was here between these two in-state rivals, although as we talked about towards the end of the broadcast, it certainly didn't feel like a rivalry, especially in the first 40 minutes of the game or so. Neither team really deciding to take this game over and really put their stamp on it. It was rather pedestrian for the first 40 minutes, chances here and there. Get a look, Austin Deleuze, and he really wasn't calibrated when he ended up scoring his goal right before halftime. And Nicky Jackson, a half chance. Devin, you mentioned that at halftime when we were taking a look at these highlights. But again, it just wasn't good enough from either team to really find a breakthrough. Thought that we might get one in the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, Austin Deleuze steps up right before halftime. That shot coming off the post from Ben Spees. He'd eventually find the back of the net. And again, this is just a blatant mistake from Alex Martinez.
There's no reason to give the ball away there. You're unsure. And to be fair, Michael Maria is actually traveling back towards his 6. How he gives that ball away, I don't ever know. And then the follow-up. He doesn't challenge Deleuze. Deleuze still has to do a lot of work there, and he deserves everything that he does for the goal. But still, they continue to go. Great job by Perez on this ball into Marios Lomas. And we both agree, the ball is better than the finish. It's difficult to do what he did and put it on that platter. Lomas still has to finish it, but not a lot of work to be done when the center backs are out of position. They didn't really do their goalkeeper any favors.
So Lomas would get his 5th of the year, knowing that full and well that would mean 3 points. And then Ben Spees, we'll take this one back with us. It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not good. It's great. Ben Spees. And we've seen him at so many different levels be able to do this. Back in his collegiate days and now making his way through. You talked about his national championships, what he's been able to do at multiple colleges. That's funneled over to the pro target. Dave Sarakin will be very, very grateful for the performance that his boys put in. And they sat back in the second half. They waited. They were very patient. That's what you could do. You build up a lead and you're on the road. You don't have to take the game to someone else. They let Independence make some mistakes for themselves, and they made them capitalize.
And Charlotte never, when North Carolina was sitting back, said, okay, we're going to put pressure on you and let's see if you can weather the storm.
How weird was it that we barely saw that from them at any point in the match, yet alone in the second half when they're down 2-0. They just didn't apply that press, and that seemed to be something that provided a few opportunities in the first couple matches. Not the case, and they're going to be frustrated with their performance. Jim McGinnis will go back to the drawing board. There was one bright spot, Curtis Anderson. We said, you know, if you truly challenged him, what would happen? This is your Wells Fargo save of the game. Has to be. Keep an eye, goalkeepers at home. Both hands out. That is a ridiculous save, and he's got amazing leaping ability. Nice to know that they've got a balance between he and Brendan Miller in between the pipes.
Well, that's going to do it for all of us here from the Sportsplex at Matthews. For my broadcast partner, Devin Kerr, Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score here in this Southern Derby rivalry between North Carolina FC and Charlotte Independence. NCFC 3, Charlotte Independence 0. We'll talk to you soon, folks.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.